Welcome to Boulder Media Radio, guys. This is your host, Javier, and I've got a very special guest. This is Boulder Media's first interview with Mr. Gino Garcia from Vibe Fitness. What's up, Gino?
What's going on, Javier? Thanks for having me, bro. I'm really excited to be here. And really quick, all you viewers who see this, even whether it's now or in the future, thank you guys for giving me some of your attention. Hopefully, I add value in your life today. I'm excited to share, whatever I have in my experiences with you, and hopefully make you better in some capacity.
Nice. Gino he's a pretty awesome inspiration. Let me make sure. Do you see the feed on your site right, or on my feed right now? Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I got you.
Yep, we're good.
We're good.
So, Gino's a pretty amazing inspiration. How long have we known each other? I mean, I'm thinking going on 3 years?
I was about to say at least 3 years, minimum 3 years. I know for sure since the Fit Ranks program, since we first met.
Yeah.
So 3 years would be safe.
And so, we kind of, I remember when you started coming into the Fit Ranks program and you were all like jazzed up about the program and going live after every test. And
yeah.
And it was funny, man. It was cool because you could tell that you were like, you were loving it,
I was. I am. I still do.
I was going to say you still are. It's like nothing has changed. But it's really cool because I kind of saw you coming up, and then whenever Nick started launching the elite program, that's whenever I joined the elite program, you joined the elite program, and I mean I would say that first crew of people, and a lot of them still there. We all got pretty close with each other. Would you agree?
Yeah. I totally agree, man. I think the biggest thing is that I found a group of people that I could connect with on a level that was all relevant to us. Like we spoke, we like to talk about business, but we like to talk about other things as well.
Yeah.
And ironically, it was all things that we were into, So
yeah.
We talk business, but we also talk guns. We also talk,
exactly.
Hiking, working out. I mean, dude, it was just a good combination. So I mean, I really connected well with that group and some of the fellows and ladies as well.
Yeah, and so before we get into the rest of the questions I got going on is this I just want to have a little fun with this. But when we had our first mastermind meeting in Denver, what was it, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and we went to the haunted house or whatever, the spooky house.
Yeah, man. Damn. Oh my God. I had never slept. I've been to haunted houses, but I had never slept in one until that day. Man, I got to give my hat off to Nick for that one. And then talk about experiences, though, right? I mean, that was an interesting experience for sure.
And then Nick's brilliant idea of doing push-ups if we didn't get our call names right, man.
Oh yeah,
God. That was.
Oh man, I think I had and it wasn't because I was trying to do it. I wasn't getting it, I think I had 800 push-ups by the end of that weekend or something like that.
So for our viewers that don't know this, is that, whenever we joined the unit, we basically had call names. And so, Gino's call name is Shepherd because he shepherds his crew, like a true shepherd. My call name was Roach because anything can blow up in my face and I would somehow find a way to survive and get through it. And so we all had call names, and it was just funny because we all forgot. I mean, I think we all walked out with at least a couple hundred, But I think you maxed out everybody.
Yeah, that was an interesting time, but it was fun. And I got a good pump on.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I'm going to kind of go through this interview, and that way we can kind of have other people just see what you're all about. This topic is basically how culture is the new currency. And I really feel like today's society, we're really shifting into a different, almost a different view, if you will, where people are beginning to buy into more culture-based type companies. They will invest their money in culture versus investing their money in a product or service. And I think your business, I think Vibe Fitness, really exemplifies culture. And it's, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, it's really cool. So I guess what I wanted, how we want to start this off is just tell us a bit about yourself then.
Right. So basically, and I won't go into too much background because I know, I want to get to the nitty gritty of everything, but what I can say that is relevant that will hopefully, make sense to everyone that listens to this or watches this, is how my past experiences have kind of molded and shaped my way of thinking when it comes to building a solid culture, if you would, that is in line with my mission, in
Yeah.
line with my passion, my purpose to serve, and how it ultimately has been a key component to the early stages of success that we, and I say we as a collectively as a team and as a vibe a community have experienced together over the course of 6 years now.
Yeah.
And so, what I can share with you guys, just a typical kid from Southern California, born and raised in Pomona, California.
Okay.
Um, did the whole athletic thing, was a quarterback. My favorite sport was baseball. But two of the things that I was always certain of in my life, there was two things, and it was all based on just experiences that I had, whether I was a kid playing in the backyard, or was one of them was that I always knew I wanted to go into the military. I was a kid in the backyard. I could play literally all day, and I remember playing at that time Army soldier in the backyard, playing fake guns, with
Nice.
broomsticks, but using my imagination. And I don't know why, but I always had a liking to that type of environment. Watch the movies, all that good stuff. Commando, for those of you guys that know what that
Yes.
is. Chuck Norris, Delta Force, all those good movies. I always saw myself as that role.
Yeah.
And so there was two things. One is when I was a kid, I remember playing in the backyard, is I wanted to be in that environment. I wanted to be a soldier. And two is I don't know why, and I think back to it now, is I always had a curiosity of what it meant to be a business owner. I can remember vividly to this day being in the backyard and just wondering, what do people who own businesses do? How do they make money?
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought about that stuff, but it was just on my mind as a kid. So one thing that I can say now is that there was two definitive things that I always knew I wanted to do. One was be in the military, and two was be a business owner one day.
That's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so so essentially, talking about how your experiences or past experiences, and this will be relevant to the content I'm going to share, how it starts molding and shaping your way of thinking to ultimately go out and go do those things is what ultimately led me to getting out of high school
Yeah.
and accomplishing my first objective, which was to be in the military. Now, specifically to the Marine Corps, because again, talking about culture and experiences, when I was 14 years old, I actually was fortunate enough to go to a program called the Developer Program, and you guys can Google that if you guys hear this. But essentially, long story short, what it is a 10-day program that is ran by the Marine Corps or former Marines.
Yeah.
And basically, when I went to that program, there was just something about being in the presence of Marines. Now, I don't know if it was just because that was the only military exposure I had at that time or what, but I just remember something about their aura, about the way they conducted themselves, the way that their mindset was when when they were talking to us about the military, about the Marine Corps. So I just remember coming home from that graduation and saying, like, man, I want to be a Marine. That's what I want to do when I get out of high school. Yeah, and
Crazy,
this
man.
is when. Yeah, and this was when I was really into baseball. I was a good pitcher. I could have, if I really focused, and I'm pretty sure everybody says this, I could have. But if I really wanted to, I know I could have went to at least the next level in college. But there was just something that made me just kind of get connected to that. Like, man, I want to go do that after. So that's what led me to the Marine Corps, and my experiences in the Marine Corps were great. I always say, man, that was probably the best decision I made as a young man, was to get out of my community, to go experience different things. But ultimately, those are the best in what I call my college years, because in my opinion, the Marine Corps taught me so much, so many things that I still use today in my business, my way of thinking. How to overcome just barriers. I mean, how to think outside the box. Just so many things, and I'm so grateful that I made that decision, and I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity now with where I'm at in my life to pass on some of those principles, not only to my members and what we do here for them, but also to my staff that I'm developing, and that I'm going to develop. So I'm pretty excited about that.
So how long did you serve in the Marines?
Yeah, so I spent 5 years in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
I was supposed to be 4, but what had happened was I was undecisive in what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get out or I wanted to stay in, so I volunteered 1 extra year to kind of give me some time to think about it. And in doing so, I went on deployment again. And then my last deployment is when I really just kind of made that decision, like, okay, it's time for me to get out. I wanted to do some other things. I wanted to explore, the civilian world.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, kind of see what it was like on that side and then go from there. But so I spent, 5 years.
So then, so you spent 5 years in the military, serving our country, and I can't thank you enough for what you've done for us, and I can't thank your brothers enough for what you guys have done for our country, because you guys have sacrificed a lot. So, that needs to be shared on here as well too, that everyone knows that, because people like you is what makes this country great.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Brothers and sisters, by the way. I served with some great women as well that would just hold it down, man.
Sorry, I didn't mention
no, I know you didn't. I got to make sure I give them their love too, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so, you were kind of saying that, after that 5-year mark, you were kind of ready to kind of enter the civilian, the world. And I guess I never really realized this, is that, whenever you join the military, you're trained to be a person that thinks like a soldier, and almost have to disconnect yourself as a civilian, and then all of a sudden you're done serving, and maybe you don't want to make the military career and whatnot, which is cool, and then you have to go back into civilian life, and I know that's a little tough transition for a lot of people, right?
Oh yeah, totally, man. I mean, I'll preface this by saying, no matter what you did in the military, I mean, and I wasn't no special forces guy or anything like that, or no high speed, low drag type guy. But at the end of the day, one thing that is certain is that community, we talk about culture and stuff, is a totally different experience.
Yeah.
When you're there versus when you get out in the civilian world. I mean, to give you a comparison, it's like going from 100 miles an hour a day, where you have your day is regimented. You can accomplish so many things in the day because you're so structured for the most part.
Yeah.
But then you get out here and it's just like everything slows down. I mean, it's just a totally different world, and you have to grow accustomed to that. And when we talk about the struggles that veterans go through, or military personnel, the transitional phase, one of them is just learning how things are done out here and how the standards are different.
Yeah.
And either you conform to those standards to a certain extent, not necessarily like all the way.
Yeah.
Or you just kind of have a hard time. And I know that for me personally, I went through a patch where it was just hard for me to conform, going back and forth. Like I was missing something in my life. Obviously, being an 18-year-old kid that, gotten out when I was 22, that's all I knew. That's where I was matured, and it was put in some situations that forced me to kind of be older than what I was. But when you take away those responsibilities and those situations, man, you just go back to just being an everyday person, which is, I don't say that disrespectfully. It's just a totally different lifestyle that, takes time to get accustomed to, for sure.
And that's what's really interesting, And so, so I know there's a transitional period in that, and you were probably I believe we talked about this at one point. You were kind of discovering what you wanted to do next. You said you wanted to be a business owner, but you didn't really know what type of business owner. Am I right?
Yeah. So what had happened is I got out of the Marine Corps, and by this time I was just like, okay, I need to get a job. So I found a job, and at that time I was like, okay, I got my feet in the work industry and what have you. But one thing that I always realized is that as I was going to work, and I'm always wanted to do a good job, it was always relevant to, I always wanted to be the leader. Like I wanted to be the supervisor or the manager or what have you. I was fortunate enough to land those type of jobs.
Yeah.
But in doing so, I just felt like there was a void in my life. Like I didn't feel fulfilled, even though I was out, I was doing good. I was providing for my family. I was starting from the bottom. So, I was working hard. But one thing that was certain was that I'd progressed in the work field. I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. Like I felt like there was a greater purpose for me. And so what I started to do is I went through this phase where I was like trying to figure myself out. I was trying to go back in the military. I had just graduated college. I was thinking about going back in as an officer. Realized like I want to be a dad, and I want to be a dad that's there all the time. So I need to be home and present for my kids. Be a good family man. And so what had happened is I said, I got to stop and think about what do I see myself doing in 20, 30, 40 years? What do I enjoy doing? So I really had to self-evaluate that, or have a moment of self-evaluation. And I said, you know what? I love leading. Like leading is my passion. I'm making people reach levels that they maybe don't realize that they're capable of doing. I love that. I love fitness. And I always have wanted to be a business owner. Again, thinking back to those days when I was in the backyard playing as a kid, thinking about business owners and
Yeah.
business. So I said, hey, you know what? I love leadership. I love fitness. I love helping and serving people. I love that community, which is what was the void I was missing in my life. That is spirit of corps, as we call it in the Marine Corps. I was missing that in my life. I
Yeah.
said, what about if I can marry all this together? And I don't know how, but how if we can start a business out of this. And essentially that's what happened was I figured out what I loved, what I had a passion for, what I saw myself doing in 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And I said, how can I make a living helping, serving, and building something, a legacy for my family and for myself?
Yeah. And I feel like that's really kind of cool. You keep using the word serve, serving other people, and it's hard for some people to do, and so it's obvious, like there's a reason why your call name is Shepherd, and because like in reality, that's what a shepherd does is they serve, their flock. And they're there to help them and guide them and all that stuff. And I really think it's a fitting thing for you, So so then fitness kind of was the thing that stuck, and personal training was like, all right, this is probably going to be the vehicle that I want to start taking to achieve my goal of being a business owner and what the future is going to look like. And so then that's when you started Vibe. And so how'd you come up with that name? Because I think it's a sweet name. Because now I think about it, like the more I kind of hear it, I'm like, it just has a click.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, man, because I literally, if people always ask me like, well, why'd you come up with Vibe Fitness or Vibe? And literally it was a matter of me sitting on my couch. I'll never forget. This was back when I lived in another city called Ontario, about 20 minutes from here.
Yep.
And I remember sitting on my couch and just writing, literally just letting my brain just go and writing different names. I had like Moto Fitness, which is like a Marine slogan. Anyone who's in the Marine Corps knows what Moto means, motivational or whatever.
Yep.
Moto Fitness. Just crazy names, man. Like, again, I was just writing, and then I just randomly just thought about the word vibe. I don't know how or why, I just did, and I said, when I think about vibe, to me as a person, the first thing that came to my mind was energy, like positive energy.
Nice.
Because you let off vibe. The world is built around, or we let off vibes. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know, but I wanted it to be obviously something positive. So fitness is something that's positive, and so for me, I'm like, okay. Vibe Fitness, because vibe, is positive, and fitness is something that creates energy,
Yeah, every time I hear Vibe, I think of Q-Tip, the hip hop artist. The song vibing thing. And it's literally one of my favorite songs that he sings because it has a catch to it.
Yeah, and it's catchy, yeah, man. And so what I did is just like anything, I looked it up, like what who's using the word vibe and all that stuff. And luckily, there's different forms of Vibe Fitness. Like there's so many out there, but I made sure it wasn't like there's no legal issues with it. And I went forward with it, man. Yeah.
Nice. So you started your gym, and I don't know exactly where you wore first, but I remember all your workouts were outside. And so
I was in the park.
Was it in the park?
Oh yeah, man. Hey, so here's the thing is I said, you know what? I'm going to plant my flag here in my city of Rialto, because I did some market research. I saw that, there wasn't nothing like I knew I wanted to deliver the experience that I had, the knowledge, the passion.
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing like that going on in my city, at least that I knew of. And so I said, you know what, before I go to another city and try to help out someone else's community, why not help out my own community first? I live here. This is where I have an interest. I want to see my community thrive. I want to see our people healthy. Why don't I just plant my flag here and see where it goes? And for all you entrepreneurs out there that are listening to this, or when you hear this, we all know we talk about doing market research. Where's the most spending power? Where will people more than likely buy your service or your product? And so we do our research, and then we base that on the numbers. But one thing that I was willing to take a gamble on was that the fact that, hey, listen, yeah, my city may not be the top when it comes to like having the most spending power, but we're definitely not the bottom. And at the same time, I was putting all my cards on the fact that I had a passion to serve that I felt would resonate with so many people. Maybe not with everybody, but with a lot of people. And I was willing to put my chips all in on my city and say, you know what, I'm going to plant my flag here. I'm going to do what I know how to do, which is lead, inspire, and teach people something.
Yeah.
And in return, I feel like it's going to be a hit. And, 6 years later, we're still here,
Yeah, and it's cool because I can kind of see how, I know this topic is about culture and how culture is a new currency, but I can see how, you were shaped and molded by a culture, young, and then into the military as well too. And then once you kind of figured out what you want to do after, you took that culture that you were learning and that you've learned, and you applied it to something that you have a passion for, that you love, serving your community and planting your flag in Rialto, and essentially saying, I'm going to claim this as my town in a sense. I'm going to be the person that people want to go to for a gym. I'm going to be that person that everyone talks about, because I see you all the time, giving back to your community, either in volunteer work or doing stuff for ROTC. You're talking to to like I think the mayor or something like that in town. You're very involved, and so what I'm saying is that like you're spreading the culture of vibe,
exactly,
everywhere, and
exactly.
It may not be like pushing vibe, but you are the brand, and you're sharing your culture and what you do, and people are like, this is a good guy. This guy really cares. It's cool.
So, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say, man, is it just comes down to being authentic. We talk about culture, and this is about how culture is the new currency. And, for all you entrepreneurs out there, man, how is that relevant? So here's the thing. Let's talk about, I'm not going to go deep into it, but let's talk about the Marine Corps. I mean, the Marine Corps, their recruiting videos, their tactics, if you go and Google the Marine Corps recruiting videos on YouTube, you're going to see there's nothing in there that talks about, we're going to give you money for college. Yeah, all that stuff happens and accessible to you. But what they want, they being the Marine Corps, they want people that want to be a Marine. They're selling you on the fact that you can come in and be part of a brother sisterhood that is unique, unlike to any other, and I say this respectfully, any other fighting organization in the world. And it's true, and so you go in there, there's a reason why the standards are the way they are. There's a reason why Marines are proud. There's a reason why. And my point is that it's a community, it's a culture that is built around the fact that, hey, if you want to become a part of this, this is what you got to do. And so what I essentially did is I said, hey, you know what? I don't have a lot of money. I don't have fancy equipment. I mean, I don't even have a building, dude. I started in the park, and you want to know what my equipment was? My equipment was my little boombox radio, my equipment that sometimes would cut off because the wind was cutting into the signal. I felt bad for everyone that was there. It was a ladder, a little agility ladder. It was like some very 5-pound dumbbells and I think one kettlebell.
Nice.
And maybe a slam ball. But my point is that I said, hey, I understand I'm going into business. I understand this is what's going on. I don't have a lot of resources, so I have to think strategically. But what is one thing that I have that maybe other people don't have? And so I leveraged my experience of community and the spirit, the core of culture, of serving. And I said, hey, this is something that I can take and I can use to create a viable business that's going to take time, but it's going to take time for people to catch on and to buy into.
Yeah.
But I know that it's going to be different in that regard. So I'm not competing with anybody on equipment. I'm not competing about the coolest workout that there is. I'm not competing on anything like that. I don't care about that stuff. Yeah, I got to have equipment for my people. It needs to be relevant. I get that. But ultimately, where I am putting not all of my, but a lot of my focus, energy, attention is in the culture, the community, and the experience within that community. And that's essentially how I built Vibe, to be what it is today. And like I said, I'm not saying that we're at the end of the road, but because we got a long way to go. But ultimately, that's my competitive advantage. And so you, as entrepreneurs, when you're listening to this, you have to think strategically. I was fortunate enough to think. My experience in the Marine Corps gave me the opportunity to think strategically. You can't defeat the enemy here. So where else can you kind of allocate your resources and your ability where you can strike the weakest point possible and ultimately increase your chances for succeeding? Again, it's relevant to business. I know I'm using an example, but it's relevant to business. And so that's just ultimately what I do is I don't compete with anybody on that. As a matter of fact, I don't care what anybody else is doing. All I care about is improving myself as a leader,
Yep.
as a mentor and as someone who leads this business and the community within it.
Yeah. And so, and that kind of leads us, into our next thing is that, it's obvious that you have a gym culture for your staff,
Yeah.
and most companies do.
Yeah.
But, I feel like you have a different culture for your clients, and not like on purpose. That's completely different from your staff. I'm just simply saying is that, some companies, yes, they have cultures for their clients or whatever, but there's something different about yours. So like, tell us about your gym culture.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I'll use culture and experience like interchangeably because
Okay.
they're combined. So the thing is when people come in, my objective when people first come in our door is I want them to see, because again, first impressions are a big thing. But ultimately the community, the culture that we've created is one where it's inviting,
Yep.
it's fun,
Yep.
it's different, it's safe,
Yep.
and it delivers results. Because you talk to anybody that comes to our facility, at the end of the day, they're coming here for results.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They want, whether it's lose weight, build muscle, just improve their life in regard to mental and physical ability, get off meds, or just be around something positive. And you'll be surprised. A lot of people come to our facility because they want to be around something positive. They're so busy. There's so many things going on in their lives, between family obligations, issues that may be happening between work or what have you, that there needs to be something in their life, that shiny light in their life. And we want to be one of those things, if need be, in their life. And so we talk about community and culture. What people realize is when they come in here is that it's different. And this is coming from them. We ask them like, hey, what do you like about here? And it's like, oh, well, it's different in regard to, it's not the same thing every day. Everybody is friendly, from our staff to our members. They help each other out. There's no, competitiveness going on, like bad competitiveness. Yeah, we're competitive and we have our ways of doing that, but it's all in good spirit. Everybody's here trying to do something together, which is get healthy, improve their lives. And so the community is welcoming, it's inviting, it's warm. And that's ultimately what sets us apart, in my opinion,
Yeah.
from like other gyms.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
And
that leads into the experience.
And so that's something that, like talking to you, I noticed that you also have like that you've instilled in your studio is keywords or things that everyone kind of knows what that means. So like, when you're done working out, you have a phrase that you say for everyone to put their stuff for, because let's face it, man, most of us gym owners are picking up crap after our own clients.
Yeah.
And so like, and there's other things that you do that's just like, like everyone just does it because that's just what you do at Vibe. So like, can you tell us more about it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because the thing is that the community that is all based on the leader.
Yep.
Everything falls back on the leader. Something goes wrong, it's the leader's fault. Something goes right, that leader should give credit to the staff and the people who made it happen, right?
Yep.
So here's the thing. You as the leader of your business and shaping your community and your culture, you have the ability to set the standards and the expectations that you want within your community. So the thing is something as simple as racking the weights. Here we say rack the house. So everybody knows, go put your stuff away. And if you're brand new, we're going to let you know, like, hey, this is just what we do here at Vibe.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, I just go put my dumbbells away. Hey, we call it community cleanup. Everybody helps everybody put this stuff away.
Yep.
So you'll see at the end of our sessions where we have a lot of equipment out, and we'll say, hey, go ahead and rack the house. And it's just second nature. Everybody knows it's a team effort.
Yeah.
It's not just, let me just go put my stuff away and go stand in the corner. It's like everybody's doing something to help out each other.
Yep.
And so you want to talk about culture, community, expectations within that. That's what I mean is if you're going to come in here, this is just how we do things here at Vibe. Again, reverting back to the Marine Corps, if you're going to be a Marine, hey, you're either going to live to the standards, make sure your uniform's squared away, you're going to get a haircut, you're going to be clean shaven. And if not, you're going to draw unwanted attention and you're not going to fit in. And ultimately, you're going to end up leaving. And it's the same thing that goes here and it translates to business is this is our standards. This is what we do.
Yep.
And if you're not willing to kind of adhere to these basic customs and courtesies, because that's all it is,
yeah,
and be a team player, then you're probably not going to have a good experience here, and Vibe is probably not going to be for you. And there's other factors in that as well, but that's just one example. One more, and this is kind of funny, but again, expectations and standards is because we keep our house clean. Because me as a leader, I set the pace for that. I'm in here cleaning. If the toilets are dirty, I'm scrubbing them. But guess what happens is people understand your expectations, and then they do their part to help out where they can and when they can.
Yep.
Now, we don't ever ask anybody to, for example, sticking with toilets, we won't ever ask our members to scrub toilets, but at the very minimum, they'll do little things to make sure that at least the restrooms are presentable. Again, standards, expectations within your community. Those are just things that we expect from our members because, again, for all you entrepreneurs and business owners out there, I get it, man. The old saying, and I think this is an old saying, the customer is always right. I don't know, man. I mean, because if somebody's wrong, they're wrong, and
Yes.
and if they're not, so if they're not adhering to your standards and expectations, then you as the leader, it's your job to maybe pull them aside and tactfully let them know how we do things, but more importantly, why we do things like that. So again, it just goes, again, talking about culture and community, those are just expectations we have.
And that was something that you were saying, before we got on this call is that when we were kind of chatting about, what we were going to discuss is, people come in and they try out your program, see what's it about. And then you were kind of talking about how they get indoctrinated into your culture. So there's a system to it almost, right? Right.
Yeah. So totally. So right off the bat, man, we know that people are going to come in here, and if they want to invest their hard-earned money, to try us out, that they're going to do that. And so right off the jump, we know that they don't understand, essentially the additional value that we have here, how it's different. So our job, whether they come here through a trial or as a member, our job is to showcase the value that we create within our community, within our culture, by showing them the different things that we provide, whether it's something as simple as a follow-up accountability text message or email, sending them a PDF file on rest and recovery methods. I mean, again, just examples, but my point is that we understand that it's going to take a certain amount of time for them to decide whether they're going to either invest their emotional well-being in the community, in the culture, or they're going to say, you know what, yeah, it's a good workout or what have you, but it's probably not what I'm looking for, and that's okay as well. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned to accept as a mature business owner is the fact that even when you create a dynamic community, even when you create a positive atmosphere, a great experience for people, at the end of the day, you have a natural attrition rate where people are just kind of either they're not going to feel it and they're going to go somewhere else, or they're going to feel it and they're going to be a part of your community. They're going to invest in your community, not just monetarily, but also emotionally as well. And they're going to adhere to ultimately what you're trying to communicate as a leader to ultimately change their lives.
And that's something that I always notice too is that I see all these pictures and videos that you guys are always doing, and it's in like whenever you guys have events and like you do team runs or you do team this, and you tend to always have a pretty good turnout, and so that's really cool. It's exciting to see that kind of stuff, So like, what do you do to kind of do that?
Yeah, you know what? We just lead from the front, to be honest with you, man. I mean, we communicate it out. We tell them why it'd be a good opportunity for them to come on out and experience something different. And that word experience is coming up a lot. And I think that one of the things that we have to understand as people, as human beings, is that we love experiences.
Yep.
You want to talk about business and experience and where it's going. People are investing in an experience. They want to go experience something positive or different in their lives, right? So that's the reason why they go do things like, go try out a new restaurant that has this crazy dish that everyone's talking about. That's why they want to go try that unicorn ice cream or whatever. It's an experience, right?
Yeah.
So one of the strategic advantages that I've always understood when it comes to business is that, hey man, we're not really, we're selling service from a standpoint of like, we know you want to come in here, you want to get results. And that's, yes, we're going to give you those results. We're going to give you the tools, the resources, the support. We got that.
Yep.
But what we can do as a business or as business owners, for you guys out there that are business owners, is what else can we do that will enhance our brand and solidify it in the mind of that individual that comes in here, to give them ultimately a different world-class experience, and that will have them coming back or have them thinking about you the next time that they know a friend or a family member that is looking for somewhere where it's going to keep them accountable and safe and get them results. They'll think about you because you created a positive experience in their life by just doing something relevant and good for them. Whether it was, giving them a great first time workout, shaking their hand and saying, hey, great job, following up with them. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Yeah. So the strategic advantage that we have as business owners is we have the ability to always think, how can I enhance the experience of the member that comes in here for the first time, so that they can ultimately entrust in us and invest in an emotional way into what we are building and be with us on board for the long-term mission. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. And I think what, my biggest takeaway that you're kind of saying is, and this is a part that I think that a lot of, I would say, leaders don't do what you do. You are leading from the front, you basically, if you put a challenge in front of your clients, you're the first one to go after that challenge as well, too, I mean, you did it with the Fit Rank system. I mean, you passed level 7, what was it, like 6 months ago?
Yeah, I think it was in April or something like that.
Okay, that's right, yeah. But,
But you
had to do it several times. It wasn't like you passed it the first time. Like, you were working with Tim, and it was work in progress. But the cool thing is, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but your clients saw you fail, and then they saw you pick yourself up, brush your shoulders off, and you do it again, and then fail again, and be like, I got this, but then you nailed it, and everyone, saw you. I'm not going to say your lowest point by any means, but they saw you, they're like, wow, Gino failed level 7? Because they all probably think, Gino's a machine, like, nothing stops this guy, And so they see that, but then I think that sets the tone of the culture you've created, The other part is I know that you and Garrett are doing is it the Endeavor race?
Yeah, the Endeavor race. Yep. And matter of fact, that's in less than 3 weeks.
That's crazy. So yeah. I know your training's been intense. It's probably picking up a little bit, or kind of tapering at this point.
Yeah, I got another week of intense training, and it's going to taper off. But
cool.
But ultimately, I mean, speaking on that again, talking about leading from the front and instilling or adhering to the culture. That you've created, man. I mean, we have to lead from the front as leaders. And so one of the reasons why I did the Endeavor or decided to do it is because I knew that it would push me on a mental and physical level again. Yep. But more importantly, I understand my role and where I'm at in my life and in my career is being, and I'm not saying this to put myself on a pedestal, but part of my job now, my role is I've taken on the responsibility of being a leader of people and saying like, hey guys, you can achieve so much if you're willing to put the work in and you're willing to do what's required. But look, I'm going to go ahead and do this because I want to showcase to you that I'm willing to do the exact same thing that I'm asking you to do. Yep. I'm willing to put myself in those same situations. And to be honest with you, here's the truth. I don't know I don't know what it lays ahead in that Endeavor race. Yep. And I've done something similar to this in the Marine Corps where it was really tough. And that was a 48-hour thing. But I'm 35 now, yeah, I train hard and I'm in shape, but it's a little different ball game, So, yeah. So I mean,
things don't get fixed as quickly as they used to.
Exactly. And I'm quickly learning that, so this is going to be a challenge. And so, but my point is that, I'm using this, yes, for myself as well, but also to kind of lead from the front and anyone who, is following that they can see like, man, this guy's willing to go in the trenches and do what he's telling us or asking us to do. I can't tell nobody to do nothing, but ask us what to do. Yep. And he doesn't know what's going to happen, but he's willing to go see what's up. You know what I mean? And go put down some rounds. And
I think it's important that we know as a society that, the culture that businesses like you are creating are cultures that are being created by leaders that are willing to put themselves in the front of the line, lead their pack, lead their community, lead their team, take the first shot, fall down, get beat up, whatever it is, and still get up and say, screw it, I'm still going to keep going. Right. And you set that tone really well, and I think part of it, I think it is in your DNA, and I think the other part is it's how you were basically trained in the military.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only and there's gyms literally right around me, but here's the difference. And we're talking about business now. And again, there's only so many exercises you can do. There's only so many variations of a squat. So so if we want to talk about competitiveness and competing in business, while other coaches and gym owners are looking for the newest, coolest workout technique and the newest squat or the newest piece of equipment, I'm thinking about how can I be a better leader to enhance the experience and be a better leader to the people I serve, right?
Yeah.
and because again, I understand that's a competitive advantage. I'm not putting my money on the newest workout technique or whatever, or the newest piece of equipment. Again, I'm thinking about how can I create a world class, and I think the key word there is world class experience
Yeah.
for people to come through our door. And I'll give you a couple examples. One, I've had many people come through our door and say, I went to other facilities to check them out because they were shopping around, doing some research. And they said one of the reasons why I chose your spot was because when I walked through the door, it was clean, it looked warm, it looked welcoming, and it looked like a place where I can, get a good workout. Again, perception is reality. Setting that first expectation from the jump.
I
So you
agree.
come so you come in and you already know, like, okay, this is a place where they care about their business, they care about their people because it's clean, it's welcoming. They shook my hand, they welcomed me in. Those are things that matter in your culture. And again, that goes to what we have built as a culture and the expectations.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's the one thing that kind of is baffling as gym owners is like we know that people don't like going into stinky gyms that are ugly, disgusting, and stuff like that. Yet people still do it, and I don't get it. But
that's their culture.
That's exactly it. And
and ironically, some people are willing to settle for that. But that's fine. By all means, I'm not knocking that.
No,
but
sure.
But you're right. Some people are. That's how they do. That's their expectation. That's their standards. And the great thing is that people have the ability to choose where they want to go work out at. If that's what they want, that's what they want.
Yeah.
If not, they come to a place like ours. And then, Javi, real quick, I don't want to cut you off, but to my second thing, I said there was two things. Talking about, again, creating that memorable experience in people's mind. Again, for all you business owners out there, going above and beyond for people when they come through your door, even when you know they're not going to be a part of your program, right? So we had this experience where this lady from Arizona, she happened to be in town and she stopped by our facility because she had been following us, right? And I didn't know this. So she came in for a workout. And I was, luckily enough, I was here. So she introduced herself. We were talking, what have you. I said, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's work out. She caught our 8:30 session just in time. So after talking with her and what have you, and she was like, oh, I'm going back to Arizona, whatever. I'm not going to show her address here, but she sent us a postcard, man. She sent us a postcard, and I just got this in the mail the other day. And in this card, and again, she wrote a whole
oh my God
letter, and this is and then again, going above and beyond for your people that you serve, and because I had told her I had started a podcast where she can get more information.
Yeah.
She was just trying to get back into it. But my point is that because I created that memorable, and I don't say let me refrain from that, because we created
I get you,
an
man.
experience, because we created that experience for her, who knows, man, she probably went back home and was like, you know what, I want to go get healthy now, I know it's possible now. And again, as a result, she sent us this, and I can tell you, as a business owner and as someone who loves serving people, man, it's little things like this that really make sense and make me understand, like, when things get hard, man, when you're going through struggles, even in business, because I have my struggles as well.
Yeah.
It's little things like this that pull me out and say, you know what, man, what you are doing is important. What you are building collectively with your people and with your team, with your staff, is more important than how you feel. So, mind check yourself, slap yourself, I'm talking about me, and get back in the fight, So it's little things like this, man, that matter. And again, that's how I know that what we are doing is unique. It's different. When we get people from Arizona visiting us, people from Instagram saying, hey, I need to stop by. I love what you're putting out there. I mean, it just goes to me just being authentic as a leader, and showcasing the community that we have here.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that I can only imagine what that's like to have a letter like that. I mean, like, that's, I know whenever, when I was running my studio, I would get letters like that from students and kids and clients and whatever occasionally, and I agree with you. Like, it literally is one of the most rewarding things when you get those kind of stuff that you're like, I'm doing this for the right reason,
So I'm gonna challenge those. If you're listening to this and you're a business owner or you're building a business, think about this. Again, I just shared this story with you, right? Think about now. Let's flip that. Now think about if this lady had come into Vibe. Let's say she walked in and her expectation was up here. She walks in, nobody greets her. The place is a mess. It's dirty. It smells. Nobody welcomes her into the session. No one says, hey, this is, her name is Liz. This is Liz. She's visiting us from Arizona. You know, we don't give her that introduction, make her feel welcome because she's already scared, intimidated. Imagine we don't do those little things for her. She goes and says, it's just like any other gym. I have this over there. I can go get that over there.
Yeah.
I challenge all you business owners out there or anybody to think about that is how you conduct your business and the culture you set will ultimately determine if that person will think about you in the future when the time comes, because you don't know. What if she, decides to move to California and happens to move in the next city or whatever, and she's like, hey, I know exactly where to go.
Yep. No, I hear you.
So again, create those lasting memories and experiences with people, man, and you don't know what will result from that, And again, I'm not saying that you should expect something.
Yeah.
A simple thank you and card is more than enough for me. But my point is, as a business owner, it's our responsibility, if your intent is to build a good, solid community culture, is to create these lasting experiences or memories in the minds of people.
That's awesome, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wrapped up here. This has been great. So I really hope our audience really understands the value of building a solid culture. I mean, Gino, you really exemplify as not just the leader of your team, but also the expectations that you set on your staff as well as your clients. And you clearly are doing very well. With your business, it's succeeding, it's growing. Your facility, how big is it again?
We're rolling at 5,000 square feet now.
Yeah, so you get a 5,000 square foot facility, and you're not even are you using all the space right now, or are there still some rooms?
No, we got one room that we're actually starting to work on Monday. So we're really essentially rolling with about 4,300 square feet right now.
I mean, you got a sweet layout in your gym. I mean, you've got the turf in the middle, you've got, your stuff on the sides, you got all the equipment that you need for your stuff. And, I mean, like I said, I think you're rocking it in Rialto. People know who you guys are. I mean, I know you tell me stories that your clients have stickers of the Vibe stickers. You walk around everywhere. You're vibed out on everything.
Got it, man. Yeah, got it.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, you are literally a walking billboard, but so are your clients. And everyone loves it. And people, you said this to me, like, people are like, I know, are you the Vibe guy? Are you?
Yeah.
And so it strikes these conversations, but
even my other coach.
Do what?
Even my other coach, Sam, she's at the gym sometimes, and they're like, hey, aren't you the coach from Vibe? So,
yeah.
Man, just doing the right things for people.
And so, like, that right there, that's culture. It's like, to most people, it's silly things, but to you, it's the little things that really make you guys what you guys are, Yeah. So you've been very successful in what you're doing, and all I got to say is that I just continue to watch what you're doing, and I love being a part of what you're doing as far as, like, watching from the back, and seeing what you've done and all that stuff. So, for me, it's just it's a fun journey, to say the least. And, I wish you the best of luck in everything. I know you're going to be super successful. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. You froze for a second.
Yeah,
no, I know you're going to be super successful in everything that you do. You're a great leader. You're a true hero. And so we really appreciate your time with us today. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts that you want to add to this?
So first off, thank you for having me, man. It's been an honor. I'm glad to see that you're taking the next step in your professional journey. I know that, you had, sold off your gym because you wanted to go pursue your next level of service to people and give back. So, I'm happy to see you thriving in what you're doing and working towards that. And I'm glad to contribute to that. And thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, for all you business owners out there, or not even just you business owners out there, anybody, if you guys want to talk more about culture or whatever, and, if you want to connect with me, go to email me at Gino, Gino, at vfsocal.com. And any questions you may have, and, I'll shed light on it or give you my feedback on. And then, of course, you guys can listen to my weekly Pod Blast. I call it Pod Blast because it's shortened to the point, under 15 minutes. If you download Anchor on your app store or whatever, and you can go to the Vibe Life Pod Blast and connect with me in there. I share whatever I can on there as well. So
nice.
Thank you guys for your attention.
Yeah. Do you have any other plugs that you want to put in there? Because this is your show, man.
No, man. Just if you guys are ever in Rialto, look me up, or not look us up. Vibe Fitness Training Facility. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram, VF_SoCal.
Sweet. All right, Gino. Thanks for your time, man.
right, take care, brother. Take care, guys.